You are watching The Context, and now it's time for our new weekly segment, AI Decoded. Well, AI Decoded is when we look in depth at some of the most eye-catching stories in the fast-moving and ever-changing world of artificial intelligence. And this week, we're looking at one of the most exciting, but also maybe one of the most controversial areas of artificial intelligence, and that is the world of text-to-video creation. Now, it's being called a revolution in filmmaking because AI technology takes away some of the traditional barriers that are faced by movie makers trying to crack Hollywood, most notably film production costs. Well, one entertainment giant embracing AI is Lionsgate, which has recently announced a partnership with artificial intelligence company Runway to allow a new AI model to be trained on their extensive film and TV archive. But at what cost, asks The Guardian. Some film producers have now joined forces to develop best practice for the use of generative AI in factual storytelling. This is currently one of the more organised efforts in Hollywood to grapple with the ethics of a technology that could prove devastating for jobs, which is why there are now calls for better transparency around the use of artificial intelligence, with the fallout from Hollywood likely to reach the European Union soon. That's according to Euronews. Film industry workers are warning against the unregulated use of artificial intelligence and demanding that AI tools be used only to assist and not to replace original human creativity. Well, with us to discuss all of this, our regular AI contributor, Sameer Malal, who's a filmmaker and CEO of AI creative company One Day. And Sameer, well, talk to us about this Lionsgate deal, but also the wider significance of all of this, because, you know, some people are saying this gives movie makers a great opportunity to break through the barriers. Others, and we saw this with the Hollywood strikes, didn't we, are really, really worried about AI.
Yeah, and you know, as a filmmaker, I see this from two sides. So on the one hand, it is an opportunity for this next generation to come up and to start doing things that, you know, they would never have been possible before. But on the other hand, you've got people who have devoted their whole life to a specific craft, and here Lionsgate is saying, okay, we're gonna train these new models with all of our old catalog, and are they going to be, you know, compensated? What happens to the future of those jobs? You know, these are all questions that we need to figure out. And I think, you know, the bigger implication here is, what is our relationship with these intelligent machines, right? We've never encountered anything like this. Whether you're a creative or a doctor, we've never encountered machines like this before. And I think we're trying to figure it out. And right now, it's the technologists that are really driving the change, and it's moving so fast. And I think we, as a culture, kind of need to step up, and especially creatives need to say, okay, we need to start defining what this looks like on our own terms, or we risk being made, you know, obsolete.
Yeah. Let's have a closer look then at what it does look like. We're very lucky to have one of the most exciting players in the AI video generation on tonight's program. It's called Pika Labs. Let's just take a look at their latest product. Well, there we are. Let's talk to Demi Guo, who's CEO of Pika Labs AI. Just over a year ago, Demi dropped out of Stanford University's prestigious artificial intelligence degree course and is now running one of the world's most exciting generative AI-powered video startups. And she has raised close to, wait for it, $150 million in investment. And by the way, she's still only 26 years old. So congratulations on all of that. And just tell us, we just saw one of your videos. How is it made? Just talk us through, in very, very simple terms, how you do it.
Yes, so there are different ways. So we basically train an AI foundation model. We call it a AI video model. So this is similar to like ChatGPT, like for a language. So we have an AI model that can, that really understands video and can generate video. And the way the users interact with this model, there are many ways. The most simple way is the user can type into a description of what they want. So for example, the user can type in like, I don't know, a giant monster is walking in the street of New York. So the AI will be able to generate a clip where there is actually a monster that walking in the street of New York.
Okay, so it's as simple as that. You just type what you want, and then AI visualizes it quite brilliantly. If that video is anything to go by, and it is all at a very minimal cost, isn't it? I mean, how much would something like that cost, for example?
Yes. So right now it costs. There are different variety of costs, but it definitely like generating. If you want to make a feature length film, it probably only costs like a couple thousand, like at most a couple $1,000, which is very a huge difference between the actual right now for the making a feature length film might cost couple $100 million or like at least like tens of millions of dollars.
Wow, so $2,000, that's incredible, isn't it, Samir?
It is. So how do you see this impacting the creative industries, right? Because obviously, that's a huge cost difference. And, how do you think that creatives are going to be playing a role in the future? What's your vision for this?
Yes, I really believe in that AI is not replacing creators, but it's really about like helping or serving creators. Because we all know right now, whether you're creating a film or create a short video, it's still a very complicated process. There's a huge gap between your creative idea to the execution. So essentially what AI is doing and what we want to do is to help save the creators time by really let them be able to focus on the creative idea part, not the manual part of creating a video.
But surely, Demi, it's going to cost a lot of jobs, isn't it? I mean, that's what the Hollywood creators are really worried about, the writers and so on, the filmmakers.
Yes, the way we think about it, I don't think it's really, people are losing jobs, but it's more creating new kind of job where it will change the way people do their job. So you can imagine, basically people in the past, they may go to somewhere to film it, but now they are able to direct it at their computer. So basically like another analogy is AI is essentially a tool. So it's kind of like you're just the creative idea is still coming from the creator. So you still need a human to come up with the creative ideas and to guide the AI on what to do. So AI can enable all possibilities, but it requires the human to tell the AI what to do. And this is still a job for the human, still a job for the human creativity.
I think that's the big concern with creatives is the process is how we get to the product, right? And by going through the process, we learn what it is, we shape it, we bring our taste, we bring our vision. And so now this process is completely changed, right? And so what you're hitting on is, I think, what a lot of people are concerned with. Now, the technology is definitely impressive, and the new model is great, and so I can see the potential of it. But I think that creatives are rightfully concerned, right? And that we want to be, we still want to maintain our process, especially when the training, the data sets have been trained on previous copyrighted material that some people have owned. So how do you respond when people say, okay, are you going to be giving attribution or acknowledgement for that? What are your thoughts there?
Yes, fundamentally, we're just, our hope, I started this company because I'm really passionate about content creation. So our hope is not to, claim any contribution or anything. We're just making a tool, a platform for the creators. So we don't want, we don't claim any ownership of the content that's created on the platform. So this will all going to the creators, but we're just trying to design a tool so that the creators can create more content or create more interesting content.
But I mean, in your training model, right? In your data model, if copyrighted material was used to train the model, do you have any plans to compensate those creators?
Yes, for sure. We do have various partnerships that we work with artists, and also open to new partnership with the content creation industry and the entertainment industry.
Can I just ask you a quick question? I mean, we saw that video just a couple of minutes long, but we're really just at the very beginning of this whole AI revolution, aren't we? Do you foresee a day when you might have a whole movie, a 90-minute, 2-hour movie completely created by artificial intelligence?
Yes, we see there's so much progress has been made in the AI world for the video creation, I do think the short answer is there will be a future, and I think it's not going to be very long from now. We see even though right now I think the AI video tool is nowhere, it's still hard for the AI tool to create a full feature-length film that you can see in the cinema. But we do see there's so much progress in AI that this dream might be able to come true in the short term.
Okay, well that's a little way off perhaps still, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Demi, thank you so much for joining us. And Samir, we're going to be talking to you a bit more in a couple of minutes. Coming up after the break, we're still going to be talking about this fascinating subject. And we're actually going to be talking to the AI filmmaker PJ Accetturo, who says that our fears over artificial intelligence are overblown and who claims it's actually a really good thing in the long run for filmmakers and creators around the world and across the UK. You're watching BBC News. Do stay with us. Well, welcome back to AI Decoded, and we're looking at the artificial intelligence revolution when it comes to making movies in particular. And we've got with us our regular AI contributor, Samir Malal. Thank you for being with us once again, Samir. Now, for those who work in the film and TV commercial industries, well, the cost of getting an idea off the ground and bringing it to fruition can be very expensive and very time-consuming indeed. Well, now with the advent of artificial intelligence, what might usually cost a studio or a client, say, $100,000, can now, believe it or not, be done for under $100. That at least is what our next guest is claiming. Well, before we bring him on, let's show you this trailer from his most recent AI film and video creation.
My prince, are you prepared to learn what fate the stones have foretold you?
Yes.
There is evil at work in the land to the west, Prince Ashitaka.
My name is Ashitaka. I've traveled far from lands to the east.
Go away.
I don't want to fight you. I'm a friend.
Princess Mononoke?
Princess of the spirits of ghouls, beasts, and ancient gods. The wolf stole her soul, and now she lives to kill me.
Why can't the humans in the forest live together? Why can't we stop this fighting now?
I'm going to show you how to kill a god.
You cannot alter your fate, my prince.
Ashitaka, son!
However, you can rise to meet it if you choose.
There we are, another product of AI. Quite amazing, isn't it? Let's talk to PJ Accetturo, who's Chief Executive Officer of FilmPort AI, joining us now from Portland, Oregon. Well, thanks very much for being with us. I mean, extraordinary, really, what can be done. Again, just talk us through the process so we're really clear about how something like that we've just seen, which looks really beautiful and impressive, how is that made so simply and so cheaply?
Yeah. I mean, it's been an amazing, wild process, right? I started out as a YouTuber, grew a channel to 1 million subscribers. Then I went into Hollywood and launched my own TV series. So to now play with tools like that, the trailer you saw is based on a famous movie called Princess Mononoke by the legendary Studio Ghibli, and it was an experiment to see how close are we to photorealism? How far off are we until we can really adapt any film or any concept or any story? And so my process for creating that was I used a program called Midjourney that I typed in text and I wrote the descriptions for the different shots, and then I took them into a program called Kling and Runway to generate the image on it, and then I compiled that into the trailer.
And how much, just to give us an idea, how much that would cost?
I've
roughly,
this particular,
just roughly.
Yeah. I mean, a couple $100, like, or less, not a lot.
So, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because do you feel like in the process that we're missing something in terms of emotion and connection? Because when I see this, I'm impressed by the tools and I'm impressed what you've been able to do. But in terms of that human connection that I feel that we get from whether it's a high-end TV commercial or whether it's, a TV show, I feel like we're still far off from that. And I think it has to do not just with the technology, but it has to do with the process, right? Going through the creative process. And that's something that right now I think is missing in AI, and that personally I'm trying to solve is how do we bring back the creative process into the AI creation process? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, I'm trying to approach all of this experimentation with a lot of curiosity and humility, because like you've talked about in the previous segments, is there it can represent a threat. And I don't want to underplay the fact that there's huge industry, the TV and film industry, that can be disrupted. One analogy that I like to use is painters were very disrupted by photographers. They thought it was maybe cheating or it was too easy. And at the same time, the world has been better for photography in that it kind of democratized the art process. And I view it in the same way that, kind of YouTube experienced this proliferation of taking what only studios could do back in 2004 or 5. And then digital cameras came about. And then now, 20 years later, 80% of the content on the internet is user-generated content. And so I think that's actually the future of what we're going to see with narrative films as well, is studios will continue to make content. We'll figure out a way forward that trains ethical data sets. But we're actually going to see a switch from studios being the primary sources of most of our narrative content. And it's actually going to go into the hands of creators. And I think that's a really, really beautiful thing, because I spent 20 years, trying to work up my way up the Hollywood ladder, almost got divorced, almost went through bankruptcy. It is a grind. You're overworked, you're underpaid as a Hollywood creator. And then you have a 1% chance or less of.
But you say that, but clearly people like the Screenwriters Guild, who went on strike and partly went on strike over this issue of AI, are really, really worried.
You're absolutely right. And again, I don't have all the answers, but I'd like to imagine that, I've seen so many stories of people who go into Hollywood because they want to be a writer and director of their own films. And then 20 years later, they're burnt out because they were only able to hold a light or to run coffee or to run cars. And, it's this, I hear them saying this isn't why I got into the industry. And I know that it's almost impossible to get my films made. Well, now anyone's able to make that. And if we can figure out a way to have these tools be, ethically sourced, I think it actually can be a really good thing in the long run for creators.
I mean, I agree with you there in the sense that if we're giving creators opportunity to tell their own stories in a way that they haven't been able to before, then I think it's the potential is really amazing. I think though that just because everybody can do it doesn't mean that a good story is not a good story, right? And storytelling, you know, requires craft, it requires time, it requires diligence, and it requires, I think, a kind of personal connection to the material, right? When we express ourselves creatively, we're putting something in of ourselves, some kind of insight that we want to express and show to the world, right? So how does this fit in with this new AI kind of way of working? Like, how do you see that personal voice translating?
And you've only got,
That's
I'm afraid
right.
it's a good question, but you've only got about 30 seconds to answer it.
Sure, I got it. I mean, it's going to follow the same trend of YouTube and TikTok to where there's going to be a lot of content, you know, a Cambrian explosion of content. And maybe some is less than mediocre, and there's going to be a bunch that's good and a few that's great. And I believe we're seeing a future where a single creator will be able to create a billion-dollar franchise within the next 10 years.
It's a great short answer, very concise. You must be artificial intelligence. Thank you so much. PJ Accetturo, thank you very much indeed, CEO
Thank you
of
guys for having me.
FilmPort. Samir as well in the studio, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
once
you.
again. It's a fascinating subject, could talk about it for many hours, and I'm sure we'll come back to it. You're watching BBC News.